When you hear disembodied voices coming from your dark yard, what do you do? For Juan Vaquero, the question wasn't what he should do, but how quickly he could do it. Juan was renting a camper in a Dallas neighborhood next to a small home with a family living inside of it. During his time renting the camper, Juan had become familiar with the owner of the home as well as the landlord's 6-year-old grandson. When Juan heard a voice that sounded just like the aforementioned grandson, he knew that he had to leap into action. Where was the child? Why was he calling out for help? While Juan was ready to call the police, he wanted to investigate the source of the noise first. The soon-to-be hero would bust out his flashlight in order to investigate the yard in the dark. As the cries for help grew louder, Juan was able to track them to a padlocked shed located behind his camper. Juan stopped before the padlocked shed where silence hung in the air. Calling tentatively out, Juan was shocked to his core when the voice called out again. This wasn't a ghost and it wasn't a prank, so Juan knew that he had to jump into action. Juan would dial Child Protective Services. While recording his interaction with the child revealed that he had been locked in the shed with his hands bound at 6 p.m. Nearly 4 hours later, the child would be discovered by Juan. Juan probed the child for answers by asking, "Why did shut you in there?" When the child responded, Juan's heart nearly broke in two. The child told Juan that he had been locked in the shed as a punishment. What was the punishment for? Well, the child had been scolded and punished for accepting a gift of pillows and blankets from Juan. The utter depravity of the situation shook Juan to his core. Juan and the child continued to talk as he waited for the police and Child Protective Services to arrive. The child revealed that his hands were bound and that he could just barely walk. At only 6 years old, the way that the child described his predicament was enough to make Juan burst into tears. The child told Juan that his hands had been bound by his grandmother because she didn't want him to touch or grab things anymore. The child would go on to explain that his hands were bound with rough rope, as the police do, and that he was only allowed out in the mornings to take a bath. Fortunately, police officers would arrive in minutes, and they would force the grandmother to open the shed. Once opened, the sight of the child standing alone in the dark with his hands bound was enough to cause everyone to fall silent. Inside the empty shed, the child was kept company by rats and insects. When probed why their child had been locked away, the parents had claimed that the child had stolen food. Juan interjected, stating that he had been giving the child food because he would approach his camper claiming to be starving. Juan could not have known the extent of danger the child was in. If Juan had not chosen to seek out the source of the disembodied voice, the situation could have turned even more tragic. Thank goodness for kind souls like Juan who reached out to those in need. This story serves as a reminder to always be aware of your surroundings, as you can never be sure what is really going on. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.